Roll4Crit.com presents How to Play the DC Deck Building Game in 5 minutes or less, or more. The DC Deck Building Game is a deck building game based off of DC Comics. You know, with these guys in them. Players compete to see who can be the best superhero they can be. Published by Cryptozoic and designed by Matt Hyra and Ben Stull. The goal of the game is to end up with the most victory points when the deck of supervillains or the main deck runs out of cards. You get victory points by gaining enough power to acquire cards from one of the two aforementioned decks. Let me walk you through it. First, you'll pick a character like Superman or Batman or Ryan Reynolds, each of which will come with their own special ability. You'll also receive a starting deck of 10 cards. This will be made up of punch cards and vulnerability cards. Vulnerabilities are worthless, they're just there to clog up your deck. Bummer. Punches are worth 1 power each. What does that mean? I'm getting to it. On your turn, you'll draw the top 5 cards of your deck. Play them by putting them face up in front of you in any order that you wish. Some cards will have special abilities that trigger as soon as you play them. Then, count up all the power you are able to make, see here, and that's your power total for the turn. You can use said power to buy cards from the lineup, here. Their cost is printed in the lower right corner of the card. These cards are usually way better than the ones you start with, giving you more power and or special abilities. They might have keywords such as superpower or equipment, hero or villain, which can impact you based on card abilities or your character's ability. No matter what type of card it is though, it'll go into your discard pile once you've purchased it. Then you can hope to draw it and play it on one of your future turns. You reshuffle your discard pile each time your deck runs out. The one really unique card type you might buy is Location. These still go in your discard pile when you buy them, but when you play them, they stay face up in front of you even at the end of your turn, and their effects remain with you as long as they're in play. Pretty sweet. You can buy as many cards as you have power for on your turn, but keep in mind, when you buy something, a new card isn't drawn to replace it until the next player's turn. In addition to the regular lineup, you'll always have these kicks available for a cost of 3 power, or you can go after the current face-up supervillain. If you have enough power to take him down, the card goes into your discard pile just like any other. But then the next supervillain in the supervillain pile gets flipped face-up. Each one is going to have a special type of attack that will affect all players, regardless of whose turn it is, as soon as it is revealed. And supervillains aren't the only ones who can attack. You might purchase your very own attack cards, which you can use on your opponents by playing them. These usually force them to do things like discard cards, but there are also defense cards. If you've got a defense card in hand and someone attacks you, you can play that defense card out of turn to avoid the negative effects. Same goes for supervillain attacks. Some cards might also give you or your opponents weaknesses. These are like vulnerabilities in that you can't use them for anything, but they're even worse, because they also take away a point from you at the end of the game, if they're still in your deck. Hopefully you can find a card that lets you destroy other cards, which means to remove them from the game. So this goes on and on and on until every supervillain in the pile has been defeated or the main deck runs out, at which point you count up the points total of all the cards in your deck by looking at the little stars in the lower left-hand corner of your cards. Just like issue number 486 of Justice League. Pretty sure it was 486. In conclusion, draw cards, play cards, get power, buy new cards, defeat supervillains, avoid kryptonite. Probably. Better safe than sorry. That's the DC deck building game in a nutshell. Did you get all that?